Have you ever hit a huge goal, one you've been working on for ages, only to look around and think, is this it? Well, today, we're going to dig into that really strange, empty feeling that sometimes comes with success. And more importantly, we're going to talk about a simple way to fix it.
Does this quote just hit a little too close to home? I mean, on paper, everything's great, right? You're checking off the boxes, maybe the business is growing, but inside there's this quiet, nagging feeling that something's missing. If that sounds familiar, you are so not alone. It's a surprisingly common thing for high achievers.
So what's the deal? Why does making real progress sometimes feel so hollow? It's not because you're ungrateful, and it's definitely not because you're lazy. As we're about to see, the answer has everything to do with the strange way your brain is wired to measure your own success. And that brings us right to our first big idea, what we call the high achiever's paradox. It's all about that feeling of being perpetually behind no matter what you do.
And this is absolutely crucial. This feeling has nothing to do with your talent or your drive. It's all about a flawed internal measuring system. When you constantly feel like you're on a treadmill you can never get off of, it just slowly chips away at your confidence, your motivation, and your energy. It makes you less resilient when you need it most.
So what's the diagnosis for this feeling? Well, it all comes down to understanding two very different mindsets: the gap versus the gain. This is a really powerful concept from the work of Dan Sullivan and Dr. Benjamin Hardy. So let's break it down.
Okay, this slide just lays it out perfectly. You're either living in the gap or you're living in the gain. The gap is when you measure yourself against some perfect, ideal way off in the future. It makes you focus only on what's missing, on how far you still have to go, and honestly, it's exhausting. But the gain, that's a total game changer. It's about turning around and looking back at where you started. You measure yourself against your past self, and that is what builds real, lasting confidence and momentum.
And this right here is why living in the gap is so frustrating. Think about it. Your ideals are like the horizon. They're great for giving you a direction, right? A point to aim for. But you can never actually reach the horizon. The closer you get, the further it moves away. So if you use the horizon as your measuring stick, you will always feel like you're falling short.
Hey, just a quick pause here. We've actually put all of these key ideas onto a super helpful one-page infographic. To really get the most out of what's coming next, feel free to pause, click the link down in the description, and download it. It's totally free, and it's a great little tool to keep handy.
So why does all this really matter? I mean, beyond just feeling a little better day to day. This brings us to the resilience link. Shifting your mindset to the gain isn't just a nice little trick, it's about building a powerful engine for optimism.
The authors of the book, The Gap and the Gain, actually frame this whole concept as a key part of what they call intentional resilience. Specifically, it's what fuels the domain of optimism. And we're not talking about some kind of fake wishful thinking here. This is about building realistic, evidence-based hope for your future. And just look at what this kind of optimism really is. It's not just thinking positive. It's an active skill. It's your ability to maintain hope, yeah, but it also pushes you to think about solutions instead of just dwelling on problems. It's what fuels proactive problem solving, and it helps you keep your emotional balance. So when you live in the gain, you're basically practicing all of these crucial skills every single day. This quote just sums it up perfectly, doesn't it? When you measure your gains, you're not just imagining success, you're grounding your confidence in the real, hard evidence of the progress you've already made. And that's what builds optimism that actually lasts. Okay, so that's the what and the why. Now let's get to the best part, the how-to. We're going to walk through a simple 90-day audit that can turn this into a real habit. The key is a really simple practice called the 90-day progress audit. You can think of it as a tool designed to literally retrain your brain to stay out of the gap for good. And trust me, it really is this simple. At the end of each day, you just list 3 wins. And a win can be anything. I mean, anything, big or small. You finally sent that tough email? That's a win. You had a productive conversation with a team member? Win. You went for a walk when you really didn't feel like it? That's a huge win. By just writing these down, you are physically retraining your brain to see progress, and that builds incredible momentum for the next day. So look, if you only take one single thing away from our time together today, let it be this mantra: measure backward, not forward. Your progress is real. Your achievements are totally valid. You just need to start looking at them from the right perspective. Now, this is just one tool for building what's called intentional resilience. If this idea sparks something for you and you want to explore it even further, all the resources are waiting at lifelongdevelopment.com. Thanks so much for tuning in for this explainer.
Have you ever